Alright, hey everybody, happy 4th of July. This bandana does not fit on Kringle. Remember to support your local public library. This is all stuff that I found at Goodwill by the pound. I will be going books first. You might be wondering why I have this massive tome here, and some of you might recognize this, some of you might not. This is so heavy. I paid $10 for this. So you can do the math, 50 cents a pound. The Complete Far Side by Gary Larson. Oh my god, this is probably one of the heaviest things I've ever bought at the Goodwill by the pound. I have no idea what the condition is. I just bought this, and it looked to be in pretty good shape. I love the Far Side growing up. Oh man, look how beautifully detailed this is. If you don't know, Far Side was basically a newspaper comic, but it was so much more than that. It was I never actually read it in the newspaper. I was always check them out from the local public library, and I would check out the really neat collections of Far Side comics. As we can see here, you can see the ones that are all beautifully illustrated. If you've never read, if you've never happened to see Gary Larson's work, it's very interesting. This is the first time I've ever even known that this thing existed. So yeah, $10. I think this is a good thing. This is definitely going to go in my personal collection. If it was in better condition, I might consider donating it to the library for their circulating collection. But it's just so unwieldily big, and it's kind of just beat up. Obviously, well read, well loved. Speaking of books, let's take a look at the rest of the books that I found, which are mostly some paperbacks. I found this, Shadowrun, Never Trust an Elf. I'm familiar that there was a newer series of video games, and a lot of people really loved the old school ones that were on the Genesis and Super Nintendo. And obviously Shadowrun itself was a tabletop game. I used to have some of the books. I have some of the more modern books, but those other books that I have are gone. I think this is a good example of, if it gets beyond more yellowed than this, I would say that you should just avoid getting it. Because when it really gets to be more yellowed than this, then you have to really kind of worry about things like possible water damage, mold damage, stuff like that. So I think this book is pretty much in good enough condition for a reading copy. I might read this and then donate to the library afterwards. That might be something. And I found some Spelljammer stuff. Specifically, Spelljammer Beyond the Moons by David Cook, and Spelljammer The Radiant Dragon by Elaine Cunningham. I don't know that much about Spelljammer. I think it's pretty cool, but these just look so dang cool that I definitely wanted to pick them up. Look at that artwork. That's so very specific to a day and age. But yeah, I didn't know that Spelljammer technically was within the Dragonlance world. I did not know that. You know, I'm more of a Forgotten Realms guy, which is also why I picked up this Pools of Radiance, which apparently is kind of based on the computer game. I'm sorry, I said Pools of Radiance because that's the book that I'm actually familiar with, but this is actually Pools of Darkness. I have not read this one. It seemed interesting. I believe I've read books by Ward before, so yeah. A video game tie-in, who knew? Yeah, I saw a Forgotten Realms book, so I'm going to buy it. Forgotten Realms books, I think, is just the classic fantasy setting, and it definitely has a lot of interesting literature. Alright, that does it for books. There's so much. It's like so hot out. I think I heard the AC in the background. Hopefully that should be gone by now. But random stuff. I found another wig. I always buy dumb doll wigs like this. This, I think, is going to be a Kringle wig. So in a future video, if I need Kringle to dress up as somebody, then I'm going to use this wig on him. Office supply stuff like this, I'd rather pay, like, you know, what would this be, like a couple pennies for this. I love using mechanical pencils with D&D games. Very cool. Also, arts and crafts related, I did get a bunch of micro pens and Prismacolor, but they're technically called art markers. Now, whether those are going to be useful or not, I don't know. I know micro pens, when you are painting miniatures, micro pens do come in, they actually do come in use. So yeah, archival ink micro pens. Very cool stuff. You can use these. I think a lot of people use these for dotting eyes and stuff like that. And, you know, they're just very useful to have all around. Micro pen stuff. These all seem to be in pretty good condition. I got some train stuff. These I bought for reselling for parts and pieces, because people are always looking for parts and pieces of older trains from train sets like this. So I'll see if any of my friends would like those, and if not, they're going to be going into the going into the rent paying fund. And then these, John Wick Chapter 4. Do you know what these are? These are the little coin collection thing. I thought that some of these would look really cool to use in a D&D game as a prop. Now there's the one with actually John Wick's face on it, which is weird. But yeah, I thought these would be a fun thing to include. I like using little props, and metal coins often come up. I just thought it was funny that some of these He-Man toys from the 80s, this toy is literally older than me. Older than me! And look. Clamp. The little clamp thing still works. That's impressive. A toy older than me, and I'm a very old person at this point, and the toy clamp still works. I got Prince Adam, who, judging by this discoloration on his tights, looks like he's had a horrific accident. Transformer stuff, perhaps? Oh, yeah! Speaking of older Transformers, I found another Rock Guy Transformer. If you'll remember, I found a bigger one last time. I found this guy this time. This was from, like, literally just, like, a Transformer-style set, which is literally just, like, they're all minerals. So these guys are literally all minerals, and they just transform into rocks. It's I just don't know if, like, the creativity, like, there were so many creative Transformers, right? Like, there was the ones that were, like, the bugs and all those things and everything. And then there's just, like, oh, I'm going to transform into a rock. Even though it is a rock, it does fold up properly. And again, these guys are, like, very, very old. And yet, they still work. But yeah, when he gets done transforming, he's literally just a chunk of rock. And then I found a Lego Mystery Machine, which I didn't think was real, but I think it is actually real. And I did find Scooby-Doo to go with that Mystery Machine. This is one of those things where somebody tossed him back. Yeah, but even if he's not worth any money, I think it's definitely worth it to donate, because my public library also has a Lego building program. So anytime I find some super interesting Lego stuff and, you know, it's not worth any money, I will always donate that to the public library, because kids have a lot of fun building stuff out of Lego. Movies! They're like TV, except for longer. Well, speaking of TV, I did find a season of Justified, the complete 4th season. I really liked the first season. I think I just stopped watching it because I kind of stopped watching all TV shows. Similar, Sherlock season 4 from the BBC. BBC. I'm Guru Larry. And then a couple movies here. We got Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. We got a sealed copy of Spaceballs. Oh, do you think they'll ever make another one? That would be weird. That would be weird if they announced another Spaceballs. That would be funny. We got the Schwarzenegger zombie movie that I never watched, which was interesting. This is also new and sealed. We have Clone Wars, I believe, season 1? Ralph Bakshi's The Lord of the Rings. This is the one that they sort of did a little bit of a homage to on this Smiling Friends from J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the widescreen limited edition of Star Wars. And that's all well and good, but the real value of this is not this Star Wars disc, but this disc, which is the bonus disc that has the original theatrical version of Star Wars. Yes, they took the Laserdisc version and put it on this. So this is one of the very few ways that you can officially buy the theatrical version of Star Wars. In any case, let's get to the video games, shall we? So we got Big Mother Truckers 2. We got Tekken 4 in pretty good condition. Unreal Championship 2. I have no idea if this has a robust single player or not. I was a huge fan of the original Unreal. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Lego Jurassic World. Devil May Cry 3. Loose, but still in decent condition. I think this would actually work. One of the best PlayStation 2 action games, I think. Speaking of Unreal, we got the Unreal Gold. Oh, yes. This is definitely the edition that I had. This is something that I'm just going to literally, probably donate to the library book sale, because people always buy these. People always buy these when I put them out. We got some... Oh, Reign of Fire. This was an interesting one. I always heard that this game was pretty fun. It's kind of almost like a weird mixed thing, where you sometimes play as the dragon, sometimes you play as the guys in the military trucks. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Not technically an RPG. This is more of just a hack and slash style action game. It's kind of set in the Forgotten Realms. But yes, Baldur's Gate 2 Dark Alliance. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 was actually apparently the better game. But this is still interesting to find, and definitely something that I was happy enough to grab. Uncharted 4, which was actually Mafia 3. And, that's not too bad. I didn't have Mafia 3, so... And then we have Summoner for the PlayStation 2. Battle Chess in the weird Omblog box. I've never seen. This is the Commodore version. Battle Chess. So, yeah, we have the Battle Chess Commodore version. Big old floppy disk. And then we have the bonus discs, which I'm not sure... I'm not sure what these are. These are 5 1/4 discs, if you don't remember. They were not as nice as the 3x5 discs. This is all almost a little bit before my time. People were starting to do videos on this. So I was shocked that this actually was a complete copy of Pharaoh. Now, I don't know how easy or difficult it might be to get this started on a... Wow, look at the beautiful... Look at that. National Geographic maps. They have all the interesting little bits and pieces. Now, I'm wondering if that actually was included in the original game or not. A Trader's Guide to Pharaoh's Egypt. Very cool. And then Pharaoh, the big old manual book to try to teach you how to use it. And we have the actual CD. Oh, of course, they had the classic big box PC game thing where you open it up and you got to see the big old impressive graphics here. Look at that. Yeah, if you just look up Pharaoh video game YouTube, you'll be able to see a bunch of videos where people talk about this. It's a very cool game. And speaking of cool games, possibly one of my neatest little finds recent past, Arcanum. Yes, sadly, this did not come with the disc, but at this point, Arcanum is actually widely available on many different platforms. And it's just neat enough to have the big box for this. This is absolutely 100% going on my shelf. Look at that. Amazing. And of course, look at that. Look at it. Oh my god, so much cool stuff. Arcanum, obviously a really amazing game. While this did not come with the actual disc, it did come with the big old manual, which again... Ooh. We got the little Oh, that's cool. I thought this was a quick start guide, but this is actually a little map. That's cool. That's neat. And then we have, of course, the massive booklet manual. The illustrations and stuff. This is very cool. A lovely bit of history here. Obviously, it's a bit sad that it doesn't have the actual game, but I already own the game on GOG, so it's not that big of a thing. It's actually neat to have this for the shelf. I think this is one of the few shelf pieces that I would be happy to have. And yeah, I didn't really find that many bits and pieces for crafting, obviously. But yeah, I did find some little bits and pieces. I believe this is mostly train stuff too. Obviously, you could use this for many different things. Very cool. Also got a couple little bits and pieces here. We just have a little sprue here. I believe this is from a train or a car, something like that thing. But yeah, you can see the great detail here. And again, I have no idea what model this went to, but the little bits and pieces are always great. You got a little shovel there. The wheels you can use for different stuff. And the little metal bric-a-brac, always useful for lots of different stuff. You all have a great July 4th. Remember to get out there and support your local public library, one of the greatest American institutions that we have. And I will say that I got a pretty good bunch of stuff this time. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I definitely am going to be keeping Reign of Fire, Dark Alliance, probably Tekken. I'm definitely going to keep the Arcana box. That's just a really cool thing. The rest of the movies and stuff, I'm going to watch them, and then I'm going to donate them to the local public library. And I hope you do the same. If your local public library is having a book sale, always make sure you check to see if they're accepting donations, and always remember to donate only the stuff that's in the best condition. So, for example, I would not donate Shadowrun, even though this is a nice book, because it's to the point where it really might be a little bit too browned to donate to the public library, because they're not going to be doing this they're not going to be making like sales for collectors and stuff. They're just going to be selling it for $1 in the book sale to promote people to come to the library and stuff like that. So, all right then. Again, you guys have a great 4th, and I will see you soon.